Turkey Valley Trojans improved to 5-0 last week with a 28-22 win over Janesville, handing the Wildcats their first loss of the season. Trojan coach Mark Scott with us. And coach, what got it done for your squad last Friday night?
Well, we played pretty well, played defense pretty well against them, and then we basically were pretty run heavy. We threw the ball enough to get them, to get first downs here and there, and give them a good dose of the fullback, basically.
And Marcus Harold, a solid game for him, 191 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6.6 every tote. How has Marcus developed throughout the season? And to go along with that, how has the offensive line developed throughout the season?
Yeah, Marcus has always been pretty solid, but he's he's getting a little better about about finding the exact spot he needs to hit, and doing a good job of finishing runs. In other words, it looks like he's going to get 1 yard, and all of a sudden he rolls off and he gets 3. And the offensive line has done a really good job. And we were actually one starter short against that, but the other 2 guys that we rotated in there did a nice job. I mean, they did a nice job of opening holes for and getting on guys and keeping their feet moving.
And you mentioned you were pretty run heavy, 53 or 64 plays were run plays, but Noah Hansen at the quarterback position was 7 for 11. Seemingly you were pretty efficient when you did throw the football, fair to say?
Yeah, couple of those rushes were sacks. Oh. Yeah, so they were bringing a lot of heat, so that when they do that, sometimes, if you can get the ball off, you're in good shape, but if you don't, then all of a sudden you're in trouble. He did a pretty good job of not panicking and throwing it to nobody. So he took a couple of sacks, but when he got time and he could, find his guys, he did a really nice job.
And defensively, you were able to take the ball away from Janesville 3 times. How big was that in that game?
That was big. One of them we turned around and gave it right back to them, but the other 2 were big, especially the last one when they kind of we just couldn't put them away, and they got the ball back, and then Garrett intercepted I think they were trying to run a screen pass, and Garrett pulled it out of the air and sealed the deal for them. They were out of timeout, so they weren't going to be able to stop the clock.
And here you are with 3 weeks left in the season, and I know the entire focus is on this upcoming Friday night at the present time, but here you are with all your goals still ahead of you at this week of the season. That has to be a pretty good feeling, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I knew if we could get to this point, that if we got to be 5-0, that we were going to be in a pretty solid position for making a run and having a pretty good season. So we've played a couple pretty good teams between there to get to be 5-0. So I'm pretty happy with how it came out.
Clarksville, your opponent this Friday night. What do you expect out of the Indians?
They got a young side. They're kind of young. They got a couple. Their quarterback that they use sometimes a big guy. I mean, we're talking like 240 big, and their fullback or tailback, whatever he is, whatever you want to call him. I call him fullback. He's a sophomore kid, but he's their main threat, and he's done a real, he's a solid 185, 190 pound kid that runs pretty well, and they'll bring it at us. They look to be a little more run heavy, kind of like us. That might be a really short game.
All right, Coach, keep your kids healthy. Hopefully you can keep your winning ways going Friday night. We wish best of luck.
Thank you, Darren.
Mark Scott, head coach of the Turkey Valley Trojans, now 5-0.